So the trade war is being reignited is what we're hearing. And it sent the market and market futures into a plunge before market open today. And we've seen some recovery already. And I wanted to go into a little bit of the news and look at how quantum is holding up, because quantum has been on a crazy run. And whenever there's some market volatility or some scary headlines, you always wonder, okay, is there going to be some pullback, or how are these stocks going to react to the headlines? So let's jump in. Early this morning, there was this headline here before market. Apple stock sinks after Trump threatens a 25% tariff on the iPhone maker. So basically, the gist of it is make iPhones in the US or there's going to be a 25% tariff. So my understanding is Apple's looking to move some of their production to India. Trump doesn't want that. He wants iPhones made in the US. So there was that headline pre-market. And then we also had a pretty aggressive tweet here. So I'm just going to read through this, as this was the tweet that came through pre-markets and sent the market down pretty considerably. The EU, which was formed for the primary purpose of taking advantage of the US on trade, has been very difficult to deal with. Their powerful trade barriers, VAT taxes, ridiculous corporate penalties, non-monetary trade barriers, monetary manipulations, unfair and unjustified lawsuits against American companies. Our discussions with them are going nowhere. Therefore, I'm recommending a straight 50% tariff on the European Union starting on June 1st, 2025. There's no tariff if the product is built or manufactured in the US. Thank you for your attention. So we had that from Trump. And then, so what did we see? How did the market react? Well, the market didn't like this escalation at all. As we can see in the heat map, the entire market pretty much is red at the time of this recording. And now we're in the morning and we're before a 3-day weekend. Just a reminder, on Memorial Day, the market is closed. So we have a red market pullback. So what was the Nasdaq doing before this? I think the chart can often tell the story. So basically we closed yesterday around this 514 and we're holding this 514 just flat, which had futures wanting to open about here. And what happened is we had this set of tweets and the market dumped down from 515. And we see that there's a little bit of a recovery and rally. So far it hasn't been the end of the world. It does look like there has been some dip buyers coming into place, and we're still early in the trading session, so we could see this rally continue. It's definitely hard to say. If anyone could predict the stock market, they'd be very, very, very wealthy. That being said, we know that quantum specifically has had a huge run lately. So what's happening? Let's take a look at our quantum watch list and see what's going on. So it looks like QUBT and ARQQ are running pretty hot today. Rigetti has a little bit of a 2% bump, and then pretty much everything else has been on a little bit of sell-off. But you'll notice that these numbers, given what we're looking at on the stock heat map, I mean, we're seeing Apple and Microsoft and Meta, we're seeing these big names dump, and really our worst pullback is about 2.5%. So not too bad. In fact, it's actually a pretty good sign. And I want to go into the charts and show you kind of the strength of these stocks and what they were doing pre-market before these tweets, so you can get an idea of how quantum is moving, and we can cut through some of the noise there. So what was IonQ doing? So I have IonQ pulled up, and of course IonQ had the insane 40% rally before some sell-off yesterday. So at the peak yesterday during the trading day, it was around $49, and then it sold off a little bit. And what we're looking at here is after hours trading, and we're also looking at pre-market trading. So we can see it was pretty flat around this 44 number, and then we plummet. So this is when those tweets went out, and it plummets to 41, and then the dip is bought and we're in a recovery. So for the day, IonQ has actually posted Let's take a look. So at the time of this recording, IonQ's about $45 a share, and it's holding above a previous level we've indicated. I just want to quickly show, we're going to just go into regular trading hours. The significance of holding above 44 is it's been a serious level of resistance in the past. So in our trading day, if we look at the 1-day chart, sure enough, 44, that previous resistance is now acting as support, which even in a spotty macro is a very bullish indicator that the stock wants to go higher. All right, let's take a look at QBTS. Again, I have the extended chart opened up here, and we saw actually pre-market that D-Wave hit $20.31 a share and was chopping around this 1950 area. With the tweets and the fear, there was some sell-off and it came down to the 1733. And we've seen a nice rally back up to, we're currently trading at $19.10 a share. So if we go to regular trading hours and we take a look at what the significance of some of these levels are. So we've been marking out levels as we have been on this rally. And what's really interesting to me is that these levels very much come into play. So even pre-market, we see this gap down and we bounce off this 1762. So why is that gray line there? Well, if we look back, I don't know if that's a really strong level actually. So we saw that 1762 was a previous point of rejection. And now in our rally today, it served as support for D-Wave. Qubits D-Wave just went green on the day. So Qubits is still looking like it wants to make new all-time highs. The all-time high would be 1953. So let's keep an eye on D-Wave today. I think it could easily retest because it's back in this zone again, which is the nosebleeds. All right, Rigetti wasn't trading aggressively pre-market. As we can see, it was up at $13.99, and then it kind of flushed with this tweet and the news, and it had the dip was bought aggressively at market open, and we're sitting around $13.99. So based on where we closed yesterday, Rigetti's up about 1%. So Rigetti's chart looks pretty volatile today. Let's take a look at Big Bear. So Big Bear AI has been showing signs for the last few days. So let's look at our last few trading days. We've seen Big Bear climb above $4 3 times. And I want to show you, before we end this video, how much the macro can hurt a growth stock, especially a stock that wants to make a run. So we know that Big Bear has been setting up for a rally for a while. And if we look at the extended hours, what was pretty critical about morning trading is Big Bear was holding this $4. So if we come in to market open today at the $4 price point, then we would most likely use $4 as support. But because of the flush down, now Big Bear has to climb back up into these levels again. So Big Bear still looking bullish, but it might need some time to build it back up its momentum as the whole market has seen a pullback. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that. We covered 4 stocks in about 10-15 minutes and some market news. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much. I know there's been a lot of new subscribers. I appreciate talking to each of you. I really appreciate the quality of comments on the videos. I read all of them and I try to respond to every single one. Appreciate your thoughts and opinions. Love the community that we're building here. Have a great day. Good luck in the market.